Hi everyone. So for this week's reading, there's a lot of things I found interesting in the handout. I thought it was really interesting that many people assume that immigrants abandon their home language and speak only English. This is something I've never heard before. As a matter of fact, people who move here to the United States don't often abandon their home language. Rather, that's what they speak at home. And if it's an older person, they're most likely not very easily learn the English language. Like they stick predominantly to their home language, and that's what they'll speak to their kids at home. And most likely, the kids are the ones to become bilingual because they are learning English in school. I'm not saying that not all people learn English, because a lot of them do, but I have seen many people who just stick to their roots and the language they speak is what they know. Um, Another thing I found interesting, I'm not exactly sure what his name was, but he thought that learning your native language first before transitioning to other languages was good for education, and I find that very interesting, and I feel like I agree because um, you should know your home language very well before learning another language, because then it might be like you know two languages but not fully. Like if you're 6 years old, there's only so much of your home language that you know because your vocabulary is up to a certain extent. You're not gonna know like big elaborate words, and that's kind of what happened to me because I learned English at a very young age. So sometimes when I speak Spanish to my mom, there's certain words that I don't know how to translate. So maybe that could have been a good idea, but I understand why it's not done in schools because of funding and it would just get too complicated. Another thing they talked about was the No Child Left Behind Act and how the federal policy for language minority students learning English changed dramatically, addressed issues of high stake testing. The chapters in the book goes more into the No Child Left Behind Act, and it talks about how it requires schools and districts to ensure that all students meet specific state developed um, annual targets adequately, yearly progress for reading, math, and science. I feel like this was a very important thing because monitoring students' learning yearly throughout the whole school year is more important than just an end of the year exam, because if you're watching your students throughout the year, you really know how much they have progressed in the classroom. And you're more likely to know if they're succeeding that way than rather than giving them a test at the end of the school year that has very high expectations because it is a test for English speakers. They don't make a test easier for students that are learning English. It's the same level. And if students are required to take this test, they're most likely not to be very successful. Like when I was in the third grade, I was an ESOL student. And by the end of the third grade, I remember being able to communicate with my teacher and my friends in English, but I did have a lot of trouble taking what was called back then the FCAT. And even though I had extended time, it was just really hard for me to even understand how to take that test. So I feel like the No Child Left Behind really did help a lot of students. And also the Every Student Succeed Acts, which helps ensure English learned attain English proficiency and develop high levels of academic achievement in English. It also assesses all English learners to achieve high levels in academic subjects so that all ELL students can meet same challenging academic standards, to assist teachers, principals, and other school leaders, state educational agencies, local agencies, and schools in establishing, implementing, and sustaining effective language instruction, educational programs designed to assist in teaching ELL students, and to enter all English instructional settings, also to promote parental, family, and community participation in language instruction, educational programs for parents, family of ELL learners. This is very important because how they say it takes a village, it really does, and students need a lot of support, not just from their teachers and administrators, but also from their family members and people around them to encourage them to learn the English language. And finally, what I also found very interesting, which I agree with, is that bilingualism has cognitive benefits and academic proficiency in two languages has been associated with enhancement in cognitive function. I do think that being bilingual is it's basic. It's a good thing to have. It's a great quality, and it's something that we should embrace more. And that's why I really like the term emergent bilinguals, because this is something that how I mentioned in my previous post is that it could be used outside in the real world in jobs and in many things, and it's good to be able to communicate in multiple languages. And yeah, thank you.